This is my EverQuest story.
My name is Ben O'Neill, and this is my EQ story.
And this is my EverQuest II story.
Hi, my name is Christopher.
And my name is Chelsea.
And this is our EverQuest story.
My EQ story is that EverQuest was actually my first experience on the internet.
My story begins back in the summer of '99.
So I started playing EverQuest in 1999.
I had first come to Norath and EverQuest in 1999.
Oh, EverQuest, you changed my life forever.
This is a story of adventure. This is a story of action. This is a story of exploration. This is a story of love.
How do I encapsulate 14 years of fantastic memories of the thousands of AAs, hundreds of levels, groups, raids, zones, and missions, and all the people I've met along the way? Well, I figured it out, and it's a command that EverQuest had on day one. It's a command I've used through my entire career, and I bet you've used it too. Hail. Hail more than anything, let me interact with the EverQuest world.
Norath had made my world bright. Until one day, Norath went dark. I suffered a massive ischemic stroke that left me mostly blind for nearly a year. Although this is what I saw of Norath for most of that first year, I refused to give up on Norath, all of the friends and memories I had made here. I continued to struggle to play, and as I did, my vision began to return. 2 years later, present day, I have regained nearly all of my vision. I fully believe that without this wonderful game, my world may have stayed dark forever.
I was living in Chicago in a little one-bedroom apartment, and I went to the game store and said, hey, what's a good game that everyone's playing? They're like, oh, this game just came out. It's called EverQuest. And I'm like, okay. He's like, but you need the internet for it. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to get the internet. So let me try this game. And of course, I called my cable company, got internet, and started playing EverQuest, and immediately was totally immersed in the game. Was amazed at the giant world, all the great things that you could do and see, and became a big fan right away.
We decided to meet up in real life and go out on a date. One thing led to another over the next year, and on December 11th of 2011, we got married. Now, who here remembers the old rhyme that we used to use while we were in elementary school? First comes love, then comes marriage, then come the parents pushing the baby carriage. Well, that rhyme exists for a reason. And on January 18th of this year, Dane was born. No, not that Dane. This one.
Started playing EQ1 in 2002. I was 12 years old. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I had to stop playing baseball. They told me sports, out of the question. So my friend showed me EverQuest. He showed me how to play. I found out that the gist of the game was that you run around and you attack stuff.
So it was one of the coolest things when I got my Epic as a bard. I was one of the first people on the server to get it, and I put it in my hand after I'd gotten it, and I was so happy about it, and I started to play a song, and you know what happened the first time? I stabbed it right through my head. So for those of you that played the game, that was one of the biggest things that bards complained about, so I made sure that when I came to the company to work here, it was the first bug I actually fixed at the company. So
I always remember the day when he called us over to his computer and said, hey, check this out, this is where the barbarians live, and it blew us away that he was just in this grassy, hilly area in this cave fighting these, dog gnolls, slaying them, and then he'd go through the little tunnel and he'd be out in this snowy tundra. And at that time, that was just mind-blowing because this game was so epic.
I remember leading some of my closest friends into the city of Cabalus, where the Ixar live, and praying that my invisibility spell wouldn't wear off as we tried to find the sewers and defeat the evil vessel Droslin.
And I'm running towards the tree line, and I'm thinking, that's it. I'm done for. And I see, all of a sudden in my peripheral, I see these player characters running along the tree line, through the tree line, and I'm thinking they're not gonna care, they're just gonna pass me on by. But no, they intervened, they rescued my butt, they killed all the gnolls and everything else, and that's how I got into my guild. That's how I met my guildmates.
And my wife comes in and she's all ready to yell at me, and I have my daughter on the desk next to me. It was a big U-shaped desk next to me in the car seat, which is kind of a little rocking thing. And with one hand I'm rocking my daughter and she's just quietly sleeping away while I'm killing orcs, and the other hand I'm using the mouse and the keyboard and killing. And my wife looked at me and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching the daughter and I'm getting some loot over here. Is there a problem?" And she just kind of looked at things over and said, "No, I guess not," and walked away. So proof that you can do both at the same time, folks.
Next thing I know, I got a message from the #1 guild in the world. They paid for my transfer, and I've been there ever since. That was about a year ago. And here I am. I am that guy. I'm Mergoth Memorandum, #1 paladin in the world.
Out of nowhere, a high elf paladin showed up, and she said this, and I'll never forget. She said, "I understand who you..." No, she said, "I know who you are, and I understand what you do, and I respect that. So I'll give you a choice. Either jump into the water or die by my sword." Now, this was an actual interesting proposition, because if we jumped into the water, there was a huge shark in there waiting to eat us. So the last second, I decided to jump into the water with Newtman. But at the same time, I sent my pet to go ahead and keep the shark busy while we swam away to safety. So, no, some interesting adventures, but that is my EverQuest story.
That's my EQ story.
And that's my story.
So, at the start of this video, you asked, what is my EverQuest story? Well, this is my EverQuest story, and I live it every day.
We're in the process of completing our family by adopting 2 little boys. None of this would have happened without EverQuest.
If it wasn't for EverQuest, my life would not be what it is today.
Thank you, EverQuest, for all that you've done for so many of us, and the differences you've made in our lives. Thank you.
Sony.